Welcome to the Philippines, part 11, dealing with visas. Immigration immigration and customs are some of the problem areas within the Philippines. You've heard about the bullet in the bag scandal, no doubt, but a lot of the problems relating to stuff getting in the country and out of the country are down to corruption. Now, the key thing here is when it comes to actual immigration, as long as you're actually doing the process correctly, you're not going to have too many problems. Where people normally have problems is when they have let things expire and have built up fines. I think the biggest collection of fines I know somebody has is somewhere between 130 and 400,000 pesos. They haven't paid anything in nearly a decade, I believe. But it's very easily done if they have problems with a relationship. But we'll move on from that because initially moving to the Philippines, the one you're going to be after is a tourist visa. There is other visas available, such as a working visa. There's also another visa if you employ over 10 Filipinos. But the reality is, for the majority of people moving to the Philippines or visiting the Philippines, they just want a tourist visa, short-term or long-term. Just less complicated. Over a period of time, though, if you get married, you'll be after the 13A, which is the resident visa, which can be a bit of a pain, but I won't really discuss it on this audiobook because things change all the time. What we're going to discuss is the factors when you first visit the immigration office. As your visa is coming up to renewal, I recommend checking the bank holidays and always going a few days early. If I'm correct, they still add those extra days onto your visa anyway. So as long as it's like, say, 3 days earlier, then they'll just add it anyway. I've been caught out myself with a bank holiday where I ended up paying an extra 1,000 pesos fine for being late. Because it was an odd one as well, because it sat between 2 months. So that day late was a case of paying the month before and the month after, because I was actually in a new month. Like it was like the 2nd of something. So be aware, make sure you get it done on time. Next thing is, you do not need to pay anybody any bribes. There's people that will say that they pay bribes. I do not know why they pay bribes. They may pay a travel agent to go and do the visa for them, which normally costs 300 to 800 pesos. I wouldn't pay any more than that. But even then, it's not a difficult process. The way I deal with these things is quite simply, once I understand the system, it's not really painful. But also, I'd much rather have the money to go for a meal and an excuse to go out of the house than pay somebody to go to immigration for me. If you're in Cebu, though, and you want somebody else to do it, I'd have a look for Cebu Expat Services with Paul Whiteway. Paul, I've known since 2008. He's a very nice guy. And he won't overcharge you either. But it's just a case of going through the motions. It doesn't matter if you haven't got the stuff there. There is normally another building that will do the stuff for you. Let's say you've just arrived and you haven't got the paperwork. So they'll go, okay, you need to fill in this form and we need 2 passport photos. I haven't got a passport photo. Go to the building next door. They will take your picture and do it for you. The building next door, and I say this because most immigration offices have this building, which seems to be a real good cash generator, can pretty much do everything you need. It can do your photocopying. There's normally somebody that can notarize documents so that you don't need a lawyer to do it because there's one actually sat next door. They'll do everything in the next 10 minutes, which is a bit of a deal that's going on between immigration and the people providing the service. I have no issue with it because they're not overcharging and quite simply services you actually need. So don't worry about that too much. Just make sure you got your your passport with you and any other information they may require, but it's normally just your passport. But you'll need an address as well, so know where you're staying. Filling the forms in are pretty straightforward. They're in English, and if you're struggling, take somebody along with you. You'll normally find it's full of expats. If you're struggling with anything, I'm sure somebody in the building will help you. Take your own pen is an important thing because there's a shortage of pens. Go with long trousers and long sleeves. They do not like vest tops and they hate shorts. You go in shorts, you may have to pay somebody outside for some huge tracksuit bottoms or something that's been worn by the last 50 people over the last few days. It's not a nice thing to be doing. Just go as if you were going to a meeting or an interview, and they appreciate the fact that you've made an effort. You'll find they do not turn up in shorts, and they are normally wearing a white shirt, so they're making the same effort they expect you to do. So you just have to grin and bear it. And I know sometimes it's uncomfortable on a motorbike, and I know it's not the ideal clothes to be wearing on a jeepney, but it's what they expect. You may get approached by officials offering to express lane you. There is no such thing as an express lane. All it means is they're actually after a bit of money for themselves. There is an official that has been removed from Cebu that was quite good at this after he's been prosecuted. But you don't actually need anybody else's help. And you do not have to pay anybody. You shouldn't pay anybody because you're only encouraging corruption. The process is pretty straightforward. It's normally just one form, a copy of your passport, maybe some passport photos, depending how they've done the system now, because they change the things on a regular basis. So they may take the photos themselves now. They'll create a card once you've been there a period of time. The main thing to watch for, and I would recommend using the forums for, is how much it's going to cost, because they do change the rates. Build it into your budget. I always build it into the highest level that I can find. So for example, if they said it's only 3,000 pesos every 2 months, I would actually budget 4,500. This could be that I could be on another island and there's no ferry due to bad weather. By the time I get to immigration, I've received 1,000 pesos fine because it's late. So that's why you budget the extra for, plus transportation, plus maybe going out for a meal if you're going to be stuck there all day. There's reasons why you budget a little bit extra. And if it's less, just keep the money in the bank for a rainy day. I hope you found this useful. I know it sounds pretty obvious, but I know some people panic a bit with going to immigration, but there is nothing to worry about. They're pretty professional. It's not some stereotypical movie type border patrol across a couple of African countries where you've got people that are looking to extort money from you, etc. It's pretty much, they're busy, they just want you to get processed and get back out. They want to get rid of you as quick as possible. If you're there doing the extension of your tourist visa, I would budget 45 minutes to 3 hours depending time of year. The reason being is sometimes you're straight in and straight out, other times you are going to be there for ages. If they have a ticketing system, see where the ticketing system is sitting, because I know back in 2008, 2009, when we used to get the tickets, I would check the number out and then take the wife out for dinner, and then we'd come back later on. Even if the ticket had expired, it didn't matter because we'd already placed all our documents in the system. The tickets, only pay and collect it. So there was no rush in actually collecting it. And I know some expats that used to leave their passports there all the time. They never took them with them, which is actually illegal within the Philippines. But some expats do it. I don't think they still do it. They might do. I have no idea. I haven't seen them for ages. But the whole point is, there's a simple process. It's not difficult, and just refuse any cash advances wanting you to pay for things up front. There's a big board that tells you the prices. There is no reason to give anybody any money whatsoever, except the guy, the cashier at the desk on the end. You'll find that the windows are all self-explanatory, and the number of expats in there that speak whatever language you speak, you'll come across somebody that can help you. Thanks for watching.